Hi, everybody. Welcome to our weekly Team Aspire Zoom meeting. Today is September 20th, 2016. So this month is a big month for Challenge Pack sales. A lot of them are on sale this month. All the details are in your back office, so most of them that you know of are probably on sale. So make sure that you jump on that because this is a really good deal. Also, in association with that, we have our biggest slim down contest coming up. The deadline is set for Monday. So make sure that you're promoting that. People can join past the deadline, but we're starting in less than 2 weeks. So we're starting October 3rd. So make sure that you are promoting that. We have a webinar that you can share that was about 40 minutes long that we did live last week, or there's a 15-minute video that I can share again. That's just me explaining it, just the bare bones, no big stories or anything like that, but just gives them the shorter version. So if you had sent the webinar to people and they hadn't watched it yet, maybe send them the shorter one and see if they'll watch that one, because sometimes the longer one intimidates. So we have that coming up. Make sure that you're jumping on that. We are recommending that coaches join the contest as well, so that you can talk about it, promote it, and show that it works. A lot of times coaches will join the contest, and then the following contest people will want to join with them because they see that they've been posting and see what's going on. So it's a really good way of getting people to join the next time around. We have our training groups going, that if you'd like to join those, they're awesome. And then the coach of the week this week. So it's always hard to pick the coach of the week because there's always so many people doing things. But this week, I really wanted to highlight somebody who she's really putting in that extra effort. She opened her community this last weekend. She is asking lots of questions, kind of gearing up for understanding how to sign people up and all this kind of stuff. So I'm really excited that she's excited to kind of get on board. She was having kind of a hard time getting motivated in her own health and fitness journey until she committed to being more of an active coach, and now she's all excited again. So kind of gave her the extra layer of motivation. So congratulations to Shiloh Dempster for being coach of the week. You're doing great. So really excited about everything you've accomplished. So that's kind of the bare bones announcements for this week. We have our call today about how to balance your personal life and your business. So this is something that's really important because we don't want you guys to feel like you have to work on your business 24/7. You should not work on your business 24/7. Even if this is your only job, like if you had no kids, no responsibilities, you still shouldn't do this 24/7. So that's not the case for most of us. We have other things going on in our lives. So it's really important to be able to balance that for your own sanity and for the sake of your relationships. You don't want to stress out your family or anything like that. So we really wanted to talk about how you can balance that and separate the two, so that you can get your business done in a short amount of time and quickly focus time, and then enjoy life, enjoy your family, take care of your responsibilities, go to work, all that kind of stuff separately, and not feel like you have to do it all at the same time. Because I think that's the thing that makes people the most overwhelmed and stressed out, and we've all been guilty of not balancing it correctly and getting stressed out and overwhelmed. And so we really wanted to kind of give you guys some tips on how to do that. So Rachel, when I thought we were talking about what to talk about today, she mentioned this call that we had both listened to probably a couple months ago that was really good, and so we wanted to kind of give you that information. And we haven't listened to it for a little while, so it's not like exact, so hopefully she was trying to find it. I think it's not public call. It was one of those like, here's a link and it's not easily searchable, so we're going to try and find it, but if not, we wanted to give you the information that we remembered. So Rachel, do you want to kind of give us a little bit of the basics of what it was about?
Yeah, so it's a way to easily prioritize your life, pretty much. The idea, it's called the 5 bucket. I don't know what you want to call it, 5 bucket list or whatever. Anyway, so the whole thing is that you have 5 priorities. So you actually get a piece of paper and you draw 5 buckets on it. There you go. 5 buckets on it, right? And I like the idea of doing it in each bucket in a different color. Anyway, I'll get to that part in a minute, but yeah, so you draw your 5 buckets and do them a different color. And then you pick your top 5 priorities. So obviously, if you have a family, your family is going to be one of them. Your business is going to be another one of them. If you're religious, then your faith or your community or whatever else that's important to you, that's going to be one. Whatever the 5 priorities are that you want to put in there. I think on the call that Angie was talking about, they mentioned having 2 buckets for Beachbody business. So one bucket could be like your power hour and what you're doing to better your business. And then your other bucket can be like helping your coaches. So you kind of split it up differently, because there's a lot of stuff that we can be doing all the time in our business, but we have to figure out like how to prioritize it and when to do what. So once you figure out your 5 priorities, then let me share my screen. You can organize your priorities to and list them in order of like the highest priority to the lowest priority. And then obviously you want to schedule your highest priority first. So this was a different call that was talking about the 5 buckets and how this one person did her 5 priorities. And then she just wrote down for each bucket exactly what is included that is in that priority. So like for her family, quality time, talking and relaxing with her family, these are her things. But then you have work and you have community, and she has the admin, which is basically like your responsibility as a wife and a house mom. So like the cooking, the cleaning, the grocery shopping, and all that stuff that has to get done at some point. And then working on yourself as well. So once you have your 5, and it doesn't have to be these same 5. It can be whatever 5 that you feel is your top priority in your life. And once you have these 5 and you sit down and you list out exactly what you need to do for each of those 5 priorities, then you can like take your planner and block out time in your planner for each of these priorities, which is where the color comes in handy, because you can use like the different colored highlighters for each one. And then you can, like for this one, the family is pink. So for family time, you could block that out in pink. So just like at a glance at your planner, anywhere that you see pink is where you've blocked out family time. It's really good to do it like this once you get everything down in your planner on a calendar somewhere, because it really helps you focus, especially with the colors. It really helps you focus on, okay, this is the time that I have already planned that I'm going to work on my own business, do my power hour. So when I'm doing that, I'm not going to fold laundry, or I'm not going to stop and do the dishes, because that I've scheduled for a different time. I already know what time I'm going to be doing that. And so if you're like me and you're in the middle of doing something and you have this thought like, oh man, I have to remember to go get bread from the store today or something like that. Write it down, like have a notebook next to you and write it down real quick so you don't forget it, but you're not focusing on it while you're trying to do your power hour or whatever, your invites or whatever. So definitely, and it doesn't have to be 5 different things. Like the call that we had listened to had Beachbody as 2 buckets, because there was just so much to do that they wanted to spread it out over 2 different buckets. So then they have a time they focus on their business, and then a time that they help their coaches with their businesses. So hopefully you should find that link. And that's all I had. I can post that picture in the group too, but I definitely want to find that call, because I think the call explained it a whole lot better.
Awesome. Thanks. All of a sudden your audio is kind of muffled. I don't know if you have the microphone covered, but there you go.
Did you hear everything I said?
The last couple seconds was a little hard. Just the last few seconds, like when you're minimizing it, something happened. So.
Yeah, I probably put my hand in front of it. Kind of. Right.
Oh, no problem. Yeah, we got almost everything until you minimize them. And I'm like, what?
I was just saying I could post the picture in the group, that picture that I was just showing you, and then hopefully we can find the link to the call, because the call explains it a whole lot better.
Yeah.
It kind of breaks it down as far as like a coaching perspective.
Cool. Well, I know Brittany has to go in a second. Brittany, do you have any idea of what you want your buckets to be before you leave?
I was actually just looking at them. I was actually writing them down as she was talking about them, and I was thinking, oh, well, family, faith, of course, speech, body, business. And I like the 2 buckets for that, so I wrote that down. And then doing stuff like, I have another one just like bills and budgeting and stuff like that. And then I actually added a 6th one for self, because you definitely need that time for yourself. But one thing I did want to add, as you were talking about scheduling your day out, or if you're remembering something you need to do that day, Rachel, was I was listening to a live video from Carl Deichler, and he said, get up in the morning, get your workout done, and the first thing you need to do after that workout is think about everything that you need to get done that day. Either write it in your phone or write it down in your notebook or whatever. Because if you don't do that in the morning, then you're not going to remember throughout the day to get those specific things done. And that's like really stuck with me. So every morning now I'll go and I'll write down my to-do list and my jobs. Like I posted it yesterday, and that I needed to get done that day. And it's easier to remember if you've got it written down. So.
Yeah, I like that.
But I gotta go. So have fun, guys.
For sharing. Thanks for coming. So yeah, I have on my bucket. So I was doing it too. I know it's hard to see. I have family in one of them. So like trips we go on, things we do together, playing games, watching movies, all that kind of stuff. And then, because I think that's important for me, then my responsibilities as a homeschooling mom and housewife. So doing school with the kids, dishes, cooking, shopping, all that kind of stuff. Keeping the house clean. That's all in one bucket. Then I have myself. So I've got my PD, workout, eating right, food prep, all that kind of stuff for me. So I can take care of myself. And then 2 buckets for Beachbody. I've got the team growth. I called it team growth. So like team calls, one-on-one calls with my coaches, running the groups, all that kind of stuff, messaging under one. And then my other bucket I called personal coaching. So new calls with potential customers, invites, organizing my business, all that kind of stuff. So that's how I organize my buckets. And there's no right or wrong way. I mean, everybody has different priorities. Everybody has different responsibilities. So I think it helps too to not just name your buckets, but describe them. So when you're thinking about it, going, okay, well, what kind of things fall under this bucket? And then if you have something you're like, well, what bucket would this fall under? Kind of filling things out and thinking about it. I think it's a really good way of organizing it. And what they kind of said is that if you have a lot of things that you're doing that doesn't fall in any one of these, it's probably not a priority. You probably need to reevaluate. So if you're doing a lot of stuff that doesn't follow your priorities, it's probably a problem. And then 2, like if you're spending all your time on one of these areas and hardly any time on the other ones, and your priorities are really skewed. So you have to kind of balance it out. Obviously, some things are going to take more time than others. So if you have a full-time job, that's obviously going to take a lot of time. So you kind of have to weigh that. But, seeing if you're not spending any time on one of them and you think it's one of your priorities, you probably need to reevaluate. So, make sure it's even. And then when we're talking about separating your personal time and your business time, one thing I really want you guys to think about is whether or not you're tempted to do business stuff on the time that should be family time. So if you're sitting there watching a movie and you're like, okay, this is family time, are you sitting there on your phone answering messages? Or are you, doing something else like that business related when you should probably put it away and spend time on your family? Because if there's something that's going to make your spouse or your kids, kind of wonder if the business is more important than them, it's not spending time with them, like focused time. If you're sitting there talking to them and you're not really paying attention because you're doing your business stuff, it's really going to impact those relationships. So we don't want that. We don't want your husband thinking that you need to quit because it's taking over your life. And we don't want you, getting in fights about coaching, if you just kind of balance things out, it's a lot better. I know for me, what I have to do, because I homeschool, I answer messages in the morning, and once we start school, I have to turn off my Wi-Fi and my data. I turn it off. I can't put my phone away because my husband might need me or whatever, so I keep it out. But I turn off my Wi-Fi and my data, and I do the same thing at night so it doesn't buzz all night long. But I turn that off, and then once it's lunchtime, I'll get in and look at things or something sometimes. I'll turn it back on, but I have to turn it off because it will just distract. Like if I hear messages, I'm like, who is it? Who needs me right now? And I almost guarantee that most of the time it's not going to be a life or death situation that you have to answer. So just postpone it. If you're doing something else that's very important, it's one of your priorities. So make sure that you're giving yourself, and really I used to do when my husband was deployed, I was like on my phone all the time, answering messages, like between things of like, oh, okay, we have a math test, but hang on, like I'm going to answer a couple messages, like here and there, all throughout the day. And I found I was exhausted by the end of the day, feeling like I was doing my business all day long when really I was like between things. But because I didn't have set prioritized time, I was like driving myself crazy and driving my kids crazy, and it's just not healthy. So make sure that you are doing that, like separate yourself, separate your time, and then you'll find that when it's Beachbody coaching time, you'll be like, okay, I'm ready. You sit down, you answer messages, you're really effective, you exactly what it is we want to do because you've been putting that stuff off. So if you have like 15 messages to answer, you sit down, you answer all at once, it's much faster, much more effective than if you do it here and there throughout the day. So it really does help to kind of like put your blinders on, leave it alone, then go to it when it's Beachbody time. And then when it is Beachbody time, try to, get away from the distractions. So if you have to go to another room, or if you have to turn off your phone for a little while, or whatever it is that helps, get away from the TV, that kind of stuff really does help a ton. So those are my tips about how to separate yourself. Do you have anything else to add, Rachel?
I was just going to say, like, if you have a full-time job, then that does need to be one of your buckets because that is a huge priority. Mm-hmm. And then while you're at work, you're not, sneaking messages or, if you're supposed to be focused on work, then you need to focus on work because the last thing you need to do is get fired for doing business. But so yeah, if you do have a full-time job, that does need to be a priority.
Yep. And there's ways too to like combine things. So what I like to do in the morning is work out while I do PD. So like things like that's not going to really take away from one or the other. It's good to kind of combine. I know I'm a multitasker. So when I'm doing one-on-one phone calls with people, often I'm folding laundry. I don't know if you knew that, Rachel. Well, almost every time I talk to you on the phone, I'm like folding laundry. Or the other day when I was talking to Shannon, my coach on the phone, I cleaned 3 bathrooms in the half hour. So like, I don't know how to just stop. But anyway, so if it's something that's not going to take away, like if you can do it kind of mindlessly, it's always good. So anyway, hopefully that's helpful. I just want to stress to you guys that it is possible to do this in a very short amount of time. Rachel used to do it with a full-time job, with a family, like little bits here and there. I don't have a lot of time either. Like I've been going crazy trying to get through everything I need to do in the day. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I had more time for this. I'm already waking up way early and staying up late, and I don't know when other time I have. So I just have to be very focused and pick and choose what I'm going to do. I actually didn't renew my blog this year because I've been beating myself up for not keeping track of it because I haven't done it in like 3 years. I kept it with the first year and been too busy since. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to let it go. Let it go, Angie. Stop with the guilt. You're never going to get to it. Life is never going to slow down. So focus on Facebook. That's what my goal is. So, whatever it is, just like be very, very focused and pick and choose your battles. If you don't have time to do it all, which we don't, pick and choose, like just Twitter or just Instagram or just Facebook or whatever. Just make sure that what you do is very effective. And if you don't know what it is that you need to be spending your time on, check out our Power Hour file in the Team Aspire group that gives you very clear instructions like do this. And then also our trainings are very, very specific, like go do this, go do that. And that's what you need. Like if you're not long on time, you don't have all the time in the world to sit in front of a computer going, I don't know what to do. You need to be able to have someone tell you this is what you need to do, and you just have to do it. So it's very helpful to have that kind of instructions. So I think that's all we had today. Do you have anything else to add, Rachel? Thank you so much for prepping with the buckets. It was very helpful.
Yeah, no problem. I want to really find that call. It was such a good call.
Yeah, it was really good. And it's very helpful to like color code it so you can see it, like she said. So if you know that this is that color, that's that color, you can even get little, you know, binder tabs and have a notebook, and like red is this color, that's that color, and kind of plan your day, and then your calendar and all that kind of stuff is what they had told us, you know, kind of color code it. And then it seems like in the call she even said like, I'm going to spend 75% of my time on my full-time job, and you know, like, and she kind of separated it so that she would say, okay, well, 75% of my day is this many hours, and you know, I should be spending 2 hours a day on my business. And you know, she kind of very specifically separated everything, which is very helpful. So anyway, we'll hope you guys have an amazing week. Don't forget to reach out to us if you have any questions, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye, everybody. Thanks, Rachel.